Hello everyone. I was watching the Odd Ones Out video on Bluey, and he kind of mentions how Bandit and Chili are like perfect parents, but that's not actually the case. So in this video, we're going to talk about all the times that the parents have made a mistake from season 1 all the way to season 3. Now, no offense, but most of these were actually Bandit's mistakes, which is the dad. So yeah. For copyright reasons I can't show the clips, but I will definitely talk about, and you'll definitely, if you've watched all the episodes, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Okay? So, let's get started. Yeah. Also, I might get sidetracked with my game, so please bear with me. So the first episode that I have to bring up is Season 1, Episode 16, Yoga Ball. So, Season 1, so basically what consists of Yoga Ball is that pretty much Bandit is working from home, and he sits on our green ball, and the girls pretty much take it out of the room and want to play with it. And they pretty much want to play a bunch of games with their dad. However, with that being said, this is kind of where things start to take a turn. Pretty much during the games, Bandit's a little bit too rough with Bingo while playing. He claims to kind of forget that he's just a little bit younger than... He claims to forget that Bingo's a little bit younger than Bluey. But I know the premise of the episode is pretty much Bingo finding out her big girl voice. But even though she's not really speaking out about the fact that she's uncomfortable, the nonverbal signs are there, and we know that Bandit can probably clearly see that. But what I think the biggest mistake of that episode was is when he pretty much kind of just tells Bingo to walk it off. That's kind of sad, like, especially if you're a child, like, obviously clearly uncomfortable. So that's just kind of how I see it. So, but obviously, yeah, these are just mere observations. Don't try to clown me too much into this. That's just kind of what I observed. The next episode takes place in season 1, episode 19, The Claw. In the beginning of the episode, Bluey and Bingo are pretty much wanting to get something out of a claw machine, but sadly it didn't go their way and they lost and didn't get anything. So when they get home, their mom acts out as a claw machine, but Bluey said it didn't really feel the same, so Bandit steps up and plays the claw instead. However, being a cheeky person, he obviously doesn't let them win a couple times. And Bingo starts to get a little bit upset about not being able to get Gray Dancer back, which is the dolphin toy. But after she finally gets Gray Dancer back, he ends up pulling a stunt of a bonus prize when Chili tries to stop Magic Claw Game. And pretty much, come on, brain, please try to keep up with me. It's basically a prize of a bottomless bowls of ice cream for the holder. So pretty much if the girls win that, they can get as much ice cream as they wanted after dinner. So, yeah. Let's go. Sorry, I'm getting, like, sidetracked. Give me, like, 10 seconds and I'll continue as what I was saying. I'm so bad at this. Give me like a little bit. I'm trying to like multitask and I'm not good at it. So give me like at least a couple seconds and then I'll get back to what I was saying. God, why am I so bad at this? I hate this so much. Okay, now back to what I was originally saying. Pretty much, the girls obviously want to get, the ice cream block, but they have no coins left, and, pretty much, Bandit automatically spills out, "I'll give you 1 coin for the dolphin toy," even though Bingo is very clearly not okay with this. But Bluey tries to take great answer anyway, and then, of course, Bandit being Bandit, pulls a stunt and powers down before the girls get the ice cream bottom block. So, obviously, karma comes where karma's due. He ends up getting completely demolished by the girls. So, you know what? Fair play. Well done, Bluey and Bingo. I just think that was a little bit too much teasing, obviously, since I think Bingo is obviously very upset. Like, no, don't traumatize the poor kid. Okay, traumatize is a strong word. Let's go with don't tease the poor girl. She obviously just wants a great answer, so leave her be. Okay, next episode I have is Season 1, Episode 30. Fairies. I think almost every parent has done this at least once to their child on accident without meaning to hurt them. And it's this. So, and it's this. So, practically, here's what I'm talking about. There you are. What was I saying? So basically, in the beginning, Bingo is making a love heart out of dominoes to show her dad. So she excitedly runs up to Bandit and tries to get his attention to show him. Then all of a sudden, Bandit yells, "Bingo, let go!" And Bingo, clearly being shocked because her dad has, like, never really yelled at her before, she just kind of goes into the corner and just knocks over the dominoes completely. We have to also kind of deduce that Bingo is still 4 or 5 years old. She's still pretty young, still toddler stage even, if you will. She probably hasn't learned that if someone is on the phone, don't interrupt. So I think Bandit could have potentially maybe handled that a little differently. Next episode is Season 1, Episode 48, Teasing. Okay, so let's kind of bring this into the bit. So pretty much, Bluey is kind of teasing Bingo and has Bingo's toothbrush up in the air where Bingo obviously can't grab it. And Bingo's obviously not happy, and then Chili's pretty much saying, "I don't want any teasing, first or second." But then Bluey obviously chimes in saying, "Dad always teases us." And then Bandit's obviously like, "Me? When?" obviously we find out most of these situations are obviously playing, but there's one scene that really isn't. And it's this one. Or these two, per se. Pretty much, one of them being when Bandit blames, Fluffying on Bluey in the one scene where she's like, "It wasn't me, it was you." And Chili smacks him in the hand with a little newspaper roll or magazine. But the other one is when Bingo asks Bandit to open her ice block up, and then pretty much once he does, he starts licking the ice block himself instead of giving it to Bingo. Obviously, teasing is definitely a big part of family dynamics, but sometimes it can get a little too annoying, especially with the ice block one. Just get the kid her ice block. She was being so nice. You shocked the poor kid. Jeez. This one was more of a funny one. Not much of a big mistake, but yeah. Give me a minute. Just doing this little thing. Okay, next we have to go to the theater. That's way on this section of the boys. Okay. Sorry about that. Next episode that we have is Season 2, Episode 15, Stump Fest. Now, this one is obviously, definitely both, not only Chili and Bandit's mistake, but it's also a little bit of Trixie, Pat, and, Stripe's mistake, but if we're really talking at the beginning of the episode, it's mostly Chili and Trixie's mistake. But you don't really notice what's going on until the very end of the thing. So let's talk about what exactly is happening. Stumpfest, we got Pat, Stripe, and Bandit trying to take apart 3 stumps. And, yeah, ripping them up. But the girls want to keep their nail salon, but pretty much, let's just kind of skip towards the end. Because the ending is where you catch it. You obviously see, the girls giving the 3 grown men in the room lemonade, or so you think. But at the end of the episode, we see them wincing and making a cringing face. Normally, you would think, oh, this is probably just, like, maybe really bitter lemonade. But even with bitter, you would make a more sour-looking face. This wasn't that. This was far from that. This was, like, complete opposite. This was alcohol. They were drinking alcohol, and you could even see Trixie and Chili drinking said alcohol in the beginning. So yes, they were drinking alcohol in front of the kids, and the kids had no idea. Because if it was actually lemonade, you would think, obviously the, parents would have offered, maybe some to the kids, but since the kids don't drink any in this episode, and the fact that the grown-ups react like that, that obviously implies that there is, obviously that was alcohol. So they were drinking alcohol. Next episode we have is Season 2, Episode 44, Handstand. This is taking place during Bingo's 5th birthday party. Give me a minute, I was not paying attention. I was not paying attention. Okay. Before I continue with this game, I'm just going to kind of continue what I was saying with handstand. So pretty much, all Bingo wants to do during her birthday is have people look at her handstand, but obviously people are not really paying attention to her, and I kind of just feel bad for Bingo in this setting, because I mean everybody is not paying attention to her. Poor girl is just like all alone by herself. I feel so bad for her. Because she's just like, all she wants is like a little attention. And usually for a birthday girl, that's usually what you're supposed to get. Sure, you might not get all the attention, but you're supposed to get some. So, this is more like, this is why I think for this episode, I just think they should have prepped the party, like, way beforehand. Obviously, this isn't really a fault. This was just a very badly written episode. I think this was more of a filler episode, just to kind of show Bingo aging up, so yeah. Not a big one, but still not a perfection on the frickin' parents, I guess. Next episode is Season 3, Episode 3, Promises. So let's kind of start after Bandit, per se, breaks his promise because he didn't take the girls to the, basically, pretty much on their trip to the library the next day, we have pretty much the girls kind of using promises as a little cheat code to, get what they want. And as revenge for the trick, Bandit kind of tricks Bluey into carrying these 3 heavy books. Instead of teaching the girls the lesson that they should, Chili luckily steps in and does that. But, yeah. Morning pencil, day boat, evening tree. Uh-oh. Okay, my Minecraft map is messing up. Pencil, boat, tree. Sorry, I'm getting like really distracted by my side quest. Give me a second. Morning hat, day boat, evening banana. Morning hat, day boat, evening banana, morning book, day, banana, evening, hat. Morning book, day, banana, evening, hat. No. Yes. Okay. Mine is over there, but we need to go sleep first. So yeah. I think Bandicoot handled that differently by, teaching his girls about the true premise of promises, and you shouldn't obviously be tricking people, but luckily Chili stepped in with that one. So yeah. Sorry, this is why I really need to learn how to re-record, pre-record my audios. So I'm not getting distracted. But I promise I will get there in a second. You just gotta give me a little bit to get there. But I'll get there. Next episode we have is Season 3, Episode 6, Mini Bluey. So the episode starts out as pretty much Bingo dyeing her fur with hair chalk to look like a miniature version of Bluey. And it starts out cute, they're just kind of mimicking each other. But then Bandit says something like, "Can I order a case of double bingos?" And Bluey's like, "No, Bluey's forever!" And then he just kind of sprays the hair chalk off Bingo, saying, "Double bingos." And that's pretty much where they got the idea to dye Bluey's fur into Bingo, and then Bluey just kind of mimics Bingo. But then Bandit says something that kind of makes Bluey really upset, where he's like, "Double bingos, I could definitely get used to this." And that kind of really made Bluey upset. You can't blame the poor kid. I mean, poor girl. But yeah, so poor girl, you kind of traumatized her. Good going, Bandit. But it's after Bluey leaves when Chili says something, and she says something along the lines of this. It's basically that little tiny private conversation we hear between the two of them saying, "But how good is double bingo?" And then pretty much Chili's like, "Yeah, I know." It's like, why would you say that? That's obviously playing into the favoritism trope, but here's what pisses me off, because in Season 1 episode, I think 45, I believe, or 46, they're playing kids. And, you got Bandit saying, "Parents don't pick favorites." Well, that clearly went out the window in this episode. Jesus Christ. Next episode, ironically, is Season 3, Episode 14, titled Perfect. Pretty much the girls are making Father's Day cards for pretty much their dad, and Bluey is obsessed with trying to make the perfect present for her dad. But we don't know why until she says this. And then we see a flashback of pretty much her mother saying that Bingo's drawing is perfect and it was going straight on the fridge. And then pretty much she says, "Look, I'm just going to put this over top of Bluey's drawing for now." And pretty much we have a shocked Bluey in the background with her jaw just dropped. Sorry, I'm getting sidetracked again. You're seeing, the version of me that's just, he... And... see. But pretty much this is kind of what happens after that. Pretty much, I mean, we got pretty much Chili pretty much flat out saying, sorry kid, I'm not perfect. It's the fact that you gotta make a freaking episode saying that pretty much the family's not perfect, that pretty much goes to show that they aren't. And it's kind of nice to see an episode pretty much where the parents are saying, I'm not perfect. Because obviously everybody kind of has the opinion of that these parents are perfect when obviously they are far from it. The last episode I have is Season 3, Episode 22, called Whale Watching. So, pretty much, this is pretty much, what kind of is going on in this episode. So, you have, Bandit and Chili laying on the couch, just drained, looking like they have a headache from down under. And, yeah. But we wonder why, per se. Like, why do they have such a bad headache? Like, why are their heads hurting? And then we find out this. We find out that their head is killing them. But we wonder why, and then pretty much Bluey and Bingo come in, and then they say this. Pretty much after the parents say they're sleepy, we got Bluey saying this, pretty much being this sentence. It's because he went to the New Year's party at Muffins. And then Bingo says, yeah, we saw you dance, Muffins saw you dancing on her barbecue table. And then pretty much Chili, wide-eyed and freaking shocked, she's like, what? She was supposed to be asleep. She woke up when Uncle Stripe yelled, cannonball, and jumped into the pool. And then you kind of get an idea what causes adults to act sporadic like that. What causes adults to get sporadic like that? Alcohol. We have another alcohol implied in these. Pretty much they were drinking at the New Year's party, and pretty much they were pretty much hungover in that episode. I feel so bad for them because they are so much, because being hungover, I don't know what it's like because I don't drink ever. I'm still only 20. Okay, so we're gonna need 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. One, 2, 3, 4. But, yeah, so let's kind of bring this in. But, basically, pretty much to put in perspective, the parents were hungover that whole episode. You cannot tell me otherwise that they weren't. Hence why Chili pretty much says pretty much for Bluey and to go get her food because it might help. Because pretty much when you're hungover, you're like probably dehydrated. I'm not sure. I don't know much about that type of shit at all, so correct me if I am completely wrong. I might be really wrong, but if I am, just correct me and I'll figure it out. So, pretty much after all this stuff, as you can see, the parents in Bluey, not perfect. They are far from being perfect, but reason why I'm making this video is to not bash on, Bandit and Chili for being quote-unquote normal dogs. I can't say human because they are not human. I can't say human because they're not exactly human, but you can't blame them. You can't blame them for being, quote unquote, in our words, human. They're gonna fuck up. They're gonna make mistakes. They're going to be dumb. They're going to be weird. They are going to be stupid. They're gonna mess up, and that's fine. But Chili, Bandit, please don't drink with your kids present anymore. Should I do an episode on all the flaws that the other parents might have or something like that? Let me know. That might be a fun episode. So yeah, but that is all the flaws of that I at least saw from Bluey and Bingo's parents, Bandit and Chili. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video because this is 32 minutes long. Jesus Christ. Okay, my phone storage is gonna kill me.